Hey everybody, it's Ashley and welcome back to my channel. So, I've been gone for quite some time, but I do have a good reason, so I thought today I would just give you like a little life update for me before I kind of just jump back into what I've usually been doing so that you kind of know what was going on. Because I've been gone for like 4 weeks, I think. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of a life update, a little bit of an MS update, because I have a little bit of an update there. So yeah, I'm just going to tell you everything that's been going on with me. So without further rambling, let's get into the video. So first things first, I'll give the MS update because I know that's what a lot of people like from this channel. So I changed from my previous job to my new job, and I knew that there would be another little gap of like not having insurance because my new insurance hadn't kicked in yet. And so I was running low on pills and I was like, okay, so I've been off for 3 weeks before. I believe that's how long I was off the first time. But I was like, okay, so a couple of days, not a big deal, not worried about it whatsoever. Well, a couple of days turned into a couple of weeks. And I was out of treatment again for 4 weeks. 4 weeks and a couple of days, I think. 4 weeks and like 3 or 4 days. Not what I intended. My brain is probably like, what is happening? What are you doing exactly? It's not my fault though. I don't take any responsibility because I was more on top of it this time than I think I was the previous time. And it still didn't help anything because for whatever reason, my insurance, like the company, because I'm with a new pharmacy now, praise be, because Accredo was terrible. So I'm with a new one, they're better, but for whatever reason, the first time they were like, oh, we don't have your profile or anything on you. Got that fixed. And then I was like, okay, like I need this medication, gave them the information, how to contact my doctor and everything. And then a couple days later, they're like, hey, it's ready. They sent me an email. They're like, yeah, we got your prescription. We're going to start working on it. And then a couple of days after that, I was like, I haven't heard anything. So I gave them a call. They're like, oh, we don't have that prescription. And I was like, but y'all sent me an email saying that you did. So okay. And so they're like, no, we're gonna work on it. We're gonna send them the stuff that they need to send us back, whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. I believe I called my doctor's office just to give them a heads up to say, hey, they should be contacting you. I just need this sent over. And they were like, okay, cool, no problem. Well, then like the next week, I call again because I still haven't heard anything. I'm like, do y'all have this? And once again, somehow my doctor's office like filled out the prior authorization wrong. And I don't understand how, but they're like, we faxed over something to them. They just need to fill it out and send it back. So I was like, oh, okay. This is like 2-3 weeks now. Like, kind of need to hurry this up. And so finally they got that done. And then they were like, oh, well, you just have a balance to pay and all this stuff. So I had to give them my whole copay assistance thing, got that taken care of. And they're like, oh, we'll send it to you next week. So I guess the good thing about the other pharmacies I've been with is that they're like, oh, we got the 2-day shipping. When do you need it? We got you. And this one was like, oh, we'll send it to you next week. So yeah, all in all, I'm pretty sure I was out for a month and like 3 days. And during that time, I didn't have any new symptoms though. So that's very important. No new symptoms, haven't noticed anything weird. I still get the feet tingling sometimes, like if I sit in a weird position for a long time, but that's nothing new. That's something that's been happening since like last year, before I was even diagnosed. So nothing really new. I'm back in treatment now. I've been in treatment again for maybe a week, and I haven't had any side effects from the medication. I thought that there might be some issues with being in treatment, being out, being back in, and then being out again, and then being back into it. And so far, so good. I don't know if or when we're gonna do an MRI. I don't think it would help anything, to be honest. I mean, we were really trying to use that MRI to see if the medication was working, and if not, then we were going to try a different treatment. And now, since I've been out of treatment so many times, I don't know if we're really going to be able to see if this medication is working or not. Also, I'm supposed to have a a doctor's appointment. I shouldn't have laughed. I'm supposed to have a doctor's appointment with my neurologist, but he has now passed, and that was supposed to be happening next week, so I doubt that that's going to happen as well. But I'm just going with it. I'm just like rolling with it because what else can I do? So yeah, that's pretty much my MS update. I'm still doing pretty okay, even after a second time of being out of treatment for way longer than I should have been. But so far, so good, I think. I hope. So good vibes would be appreciated that my brain is not deteriorating, and I just don't know that yet. So yeah, that is my little MS update for you. But now, for the real reason I was out of all the social medias, not on YouTube, not really on my Instagram or on Twitter or my Facebook, like not really on anything. And that is because I was studying for my licensing exam. So with social work, at least within the state of Texas, it's highly, highly, highly encouraged, and it's really something that a lot of employers look for in certain jobs. And my job was really one of them because I am a therapist at a mental health hospital. And because of coronavirus and everything like that, our state licensing has been a hot mess. And so luckily for my job, they kind of waived that requirement that you needed to have your license already, because they knew like a lot of people were graduating and they weren't able to get their license because our state board was like, oh, Corona, we're going to take off months. We're not going to do anything for months. We're not even going to work from home. We're gonna work one day out of the week and call it a day. And if you're not from Texas, Texas is pretty big. There's a lot of people. And so there's probably a lot of people trying to be social workers, trying to get that license. And so if you just have where the state board is just not doing anything, obviously there's gonna be a big backlog there. I graduated. I didn't get to take my licensing exam because I wanted to get it done like either right before I graduated or right after, and that was just not realistic anymore because of everything crazy going on in the world. And so I was still luckily able to get my job, and that was just still something that was like looming over my head, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to take this big test. If I don't pass, really, I'm the one who beats myself up the most about things like that. So anybody else, if they didn't pass, I'm like, oh, that's okay, you got it next time. Like, people fail this all the time. For me, I'm like, you're a loser. But I just had that looming over my head. I have such big, sometimes unrealistic expectations for myself. But it came around to where I was able to actually take the test, and I was like, okay, I need to get this done. I need to get it out of the way, and I need to get it out of the way before 2021, because I just wanted to like not worry about it anymore. And so I signed up to take the test, and that was in November. So I had about 3 weeks to study, and that's what I was doing. I was literally going to work, coming home, studying for hours on end, and as the days kept going by, I just like, I could not make the time to sit down and to film or to really do anything else because this was such a big test for me. I mean, number one, it's expensive. This whole process was expensive. You had to pay for the application. You had to pay for the freaking, your fingerprints to be taken. It was just so many different things that you had to pay for. And the test was like $230. And I'm a social worker, so I'm poor. I'm not rich. So it's like, well, I'm not as poor as I used to be. Still poor though. And so it's like, that's expensive. And then the time just dedicated to studying, I did not want to do it again. So I wanted to make sure I did it right on the first try. And I'm happy to say, if you don't follow me on my Instagram, which you definitely should, but if you don't follow me on my Instagram, then you might not know, but I passed my licensing exam on the first try. I'm so incredibly excited to be done with that chapter of my life for at least 2 years, because I'm trying to go for another license. So I might have to take another huge test, but I'll worry about that later because right now I'm free, I'm done, I literally did it, and I don't have to think about that test specifically ever again. It was one of the hardest tests, I think, that I've ever taken, not because of the material really, because I did study. I read a whole entire book that was made for this test. I read it cover to cover. I did the practice test. I got an app and I paid for that as well. My God, this whole thing was so expensive, but I felt like I really knew the material and I just needed to like trust myself, but it was so difficult because sitting in that testing center, I just felt like I was failing the entire time. I literally sat there and I had multiple thoughts of like, okay, so I'm gonna have to take this again. I wonder when I'm gonna be able to take this again because I'm not doing well on this one, like not at all. Luckily, it all worked out. So I should be back to somewhat normal. I don't want to say for sure I'm going to be back and I'm going to be regular and on time because I don't think I ever really have been. So I'm going to try my best though. I should be able to get out more videos for you guys and things like that because as of for right now, everything seems to be pretty calm. It's Christmas time. I don't have to study for anything. I don't have any more tests looming over my head. I mean, everything seems pretty okay right now, so I should be back to normal, to doing what I usually do. So yeah, I really just wanted to give you guys this update, which really wasn't even that big of an update. It was just two things really, but I thought this would kind of help me ease back into it since I've been off for another 4 weeks. It was necessary though, because your girl got it done. Yes, okay, so thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below. I would really appreciate that. And just thank you so much for listening to me ramble and for being patient because I know this is probably really annoying to be there and then be gone for weeks at a time, but I'm trying to be better. So thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.